Okay, welcome everybody to Under the Bed.
Under the bed, yeah. I
Yes.
guess Matt, go ahead and
Yeah,
start kicking off. Introduce yourself.
This is a special team up here. We got Universe Retro, Rude Hard Podcast, and I am from the Funbox Monster Podcast. We got Bobby Canipe from Universe Retro and Marcus Rude from Rude Horror, and I am Matt Awkward. So, we've all decided to get together tonight to talk about the childhood classic, Little Monsters.
Little Monsters, not the new Little Monsters. I actually, while searching up stuff for Little Monsters, found out that there's a more recent movie called Little Monsters as well.
Yeah,
completely different animal though, right?
Oh yeah, it's completely different movie.
Okay.
Not at all.
Not a remake
we
at all.
watched.
Gotcha.
Before we start, go ahead. I'm sorry, Marcus.
You got a jar of apple juice?
Well, yeah, I think I got some of Maurice's concoction here.
Is this piss?
Who pissed in my apple juice?
Before we even start, I'm just going to shout out Ryan Granger. He runs a little company he started called Guts, and it's on Instagram. He sent me this shirt. It's a play on the Toxie shirt, the I Heart the Monster Hero. Has Maurice on the front. I think he's sending you guys some as well.
Yeah,
awesome.
Anybody that sees this, hit him up and take a look. It's Ryan.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Much appreciated.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan. He also does some really cool pins too, so you can check those out.
Cool. So, who wants to start this?
Go right ahead, man, and we'll just jump in.
So we start. I'm just gonna say, I feel that this movie has some broken things. And in the beginning here too, we start with Fred Savage's narration, but we never get a closing narration at all, which I find kind of odd when you think about that.
Yeah.
Like it starts like he's almost like the Wonder Years, where he's like telling a story like that, but he never wraps it up. So it's just
I feel like that's what they went for too. Like, we got Fred Savage, just throw in an entrance monologue like he does. So, one of many things that they never really wrap up.
Yeah. So he's telling us a story about how he just moved to a new town for reasons unknown, but he hates it there and has no friends until he met Maurice, who we'll meet later on.
Yeah, I mean, he knows Maurice, a total of maybe a week?
Yeah.
That's the best friend he's ever had. So, I mean, I kind of feel bad for the guy.
And I still don't understand why they're not friends at the end either. Like,
I don't know. That first
can't
whole
he pop in and out?
Yeah.
I was thinking because he can pop in and out.
Can't Maurice come back and visit him? Like, what's blocking him from coming back out again? Like, I understand that
total sense.
I understand that the kids need to get out of the underworld because they'll turn into monsters if they don't. But can't Maurice just come back and visit? Like, they have this heartfelt goodbye, but it's just like,
exactly. He loses his jacket. Now Maurice don't even have his trademark jacket anymore. But yeah,
I guess it's like
sense.
Once you hit the end of first semester of 6th grade, then like you can't see any more monsters apparently.
Is that how it works?
Maybe it's relating to the coming of age thing. Maybe it's like, okay, now he's gonna grow up. Because Maurice does even bring up the line that now I guess it's time for him to get married at the end. So that's all I can imagine is that it's him turning into not a grown up, but growing up. Maybe that's the only thing I could think of.
Like you can't stay in Neverland all your life.
Yeah. I mean, he could visit his brother though.
Yep. That's true.
Yeah.
Could it be like going into like a puberty type thing?
Yeah, absolutely. It could be. Absolutely.
It's like, okay, fine. You're starting to grow up. You shouldn't believe in monsters, even though, apparently monsters are real in that universe.
Yeah. And so, I got to bring this up. It is. I got to bring this up too. I mean, am I wrong in believing that literally probably half of those monsters are kids that got stuck?
No, you're completely right.
Like, that's something they don't really touch on, but it's like, those kids are missing. Those are missing children.
Oh, yeah.
That are like, in this.
I feel like this movie has this big dark cloud over it, and they just, to handle this dark cloud, they just didn't bother explaining anything.
They didn't.
Maurice is like straight up grooming Fred Savage to be a monster, basically. He's training him to scare the kids, taking them on monster missions. He says that the king, or that boy, that we never get any information on, like who he is, why he lords over everything. What?
And I mean, I think it's pretty well known, but not said, that Boy and Snick have killed people before. So like they have like saw blade traps. They have like all these things that are meant to kill and torture kids. and they just come out in the third act, and we don't hear about them until the third act. You
Yeah,
know?
and Boy is straight up just wearing skin, like
Yeah.
human skin pulled over his face. So yeah, chances are he skinned somebody.
Yeah, he's killed.
Well,
But it's terrifying. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Marcus.
well, I was gonna say, I think that was part of the reason why, like Snick didn't really care a whole lot that Maurice's friend was down there, because it's almost like they have some sort of underworld business going on where they're gonna try to make it so fun for these kids to where they want them stuck down there forever.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, because when they go to the part where they play baseball and they have like anything they want to eat, like which even has product placement from Bojangles, which I thought was funny because it was filmed in North Carolina. So when I saw the Bojangles box, I was like, wait, especially during this time, that's a Southern thing. It's not really
What is a Bojangles?
So, oh God, yeah, you probably don't even know. I'm sorry.
Maine here.
So Bojangles is a chicken restaurant,
Okay.
primarily in the South, North Carolina and South Carolina. I think it's went out to Georgia now, but especially at that time, it was like just in North Carolina. So when I seen the box from Bojangles, I was like, wow, that's wild. This is like 1989. I look it up, and it was filmed in in and around Wilmington, North Carolina, which is pretty wild. But yeah, they do make it very. I went off subject, but they're very, very enticing to kids.
Yes.
To stay down there.
They got the Doritos product placement too with the Doritos trap.
Yeah,
which is another thing that doesn't make sense to me, but we'll get to that part.
And he used an entire bag of Doritos because those things weren't even spread out. Like they were literally touching. Like
yep. So we find out that he's just moved, this kid, and then let's see, where are we going with this? We get the school bus ride. Do we ever see that sandwich get thrown at that kid?
He throws the bag out. He
throws
the lunch bag
out the window of the bus
from his brother and just throws it. Like,
oh, okay. I somehow missed that when I was watching it. So all of a sudden I'm just like, who threw this sandwich at me? And I'm like, what? What are you talking about?
He's like, who is Eric? Because it has the Eric's name on the bag.
Who is Eric?
And everyone's like pointing at Eric. So
somebody's ratting him out. Man.
Oh, they sold that kid out so fast. I also think it's funny when he how the bully gets humiliated in like the weakest way. He like pulls out a slice of bologna, and then when the bus hits the brakes, he's like, "Oops, I got a piece of bologna on my shirt. This is outrageous. This is so embarrassing." Like he's so flustered. Like it's not
you can almost see it. You can always see it like him throwing it on himself.
He does. He's sticking the graphic on his shirt. Yeah, it's like I'd understand that. I'd understand like the anger if you got a bunch of water poured on you or something like that, all wet. But dude, you literally just had a piece of bologna hit your shirt.
And you did it yourself.
Yeah, and it's the end of the world for you now.
Well, what I thought was funny was when the bully shows up to school to confront Brian or whatever. He's still got the bologna stains on his shirt, so he never cleaned it up or anything.
He just got off the bus and walked the rest of the way to school.
Yeah. And that bus driver too. If everybody doesn't sit down, I swear, I vow I will destroy you.
Just lets the kid get off the bus and leave.
Who talks like that?
Totally lets that kid just get off the bus and leave. Like, it's
but hey, that shows you what the difference was in the way that people communicated back then until now.
Oh yeah.
You really can't say a whole lot of stuff, even in like kids movies. Like a lot of the stuff that they say in this movie, it's almost like you can't really do nowadays.
Oh my God, you could not do so many things in this movie, and probably unlike you guys, I never actually saw this when I was growing up. Like I knew it existed, but this wasn't like I had The Wizard. I watched that Fred Savage movie incessantly, but like I never actually saw this until years down the road, and. Yeah, like we discussed about the dark kidnapped kids. Also, it's probably good that I didn't see this when I was young because I was very impressionable, and I probably would have done the Saran wrap over the toilet gag. I might have tried the pee gag. Like I got in a lot of trouble growing up copying movies, so this is probably good for me. But I did not see this.
What's funny is I won't mention names, but I do know somebody that had pissed in somebody's Sierra Mist bottle, I think it was, and then. And then let the other person, like, how like the bottles were, it might have been Mountain Dew or Sierra Mist, one of the two, but it was like in one of those like green 2-liter bottles.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I know we were kids at the time, but yeah, he peed in this other kid's 2-liter bottle. And
oh, come on, you did it.
It wasn't me.
Was that
it was Marcus. know, just somebody.
A friend, a guy I know.
Yeah.
A friend of a friend.
So yeah, Fred Savage's dad in this is played by Daniel Stern,
Oh yeah,
who is kind of a bummer trip to be in this movie. Like,
yeah, fresh out of
every adult in this movie is like a buzzkill. There's not like one sympathetic adult character, and Daniel Stern's character is just so grumpy all the time. It's such a almost turnoff. Like, I just don't like his character. You can be a bad dad or a grump dad, but like I think he just cranks it up way too high.
Oh, I agree. And there's like, even when it comes to Daniel Stern's character, like I tried to step back and analyze this film, like, okay, like not looking at the service, this whole movie at the end, you could flip it and say he made it all up because he has no friends in a new class, you know, in new town. His parents are arguing a lot, like they're about to get a divorce.
Yeah.
He has no relationship with his dad. He can't get along with his brother. Like, you could say the whole time he made this all up and made up this wild adventure just because he needed a friend, you know, because all the stuff is going on. There's just a lot of heavy stuff they don't talk about, especially with his parents going on.
And they also got to figure out how the hell they got to California. Do we hear where this movie takes place in the movie at all?
I don't think we do.
I don't think we do either, but like I assume that it's way on the East Coast because they run through all the places to get to where.
Yeah, they pass the signs and all that.
Oh, yeah.
All the way.
And then I find it funny too, the mother on the phone at the end there, he's like, I'm in Malibu. She's like, where's that? Massachusetts? Like, what? I mean, man, I'm not a geography whiz, but I know, like, at least I know Malibu's not Mass.
Massachusetts.
So that's kind of funny, and that's going to be a weird story to figure out too. Like, I think they made it across country in one night, which is
like there's no way to believe that. Like, you have to somewhat believe them or just pretend like it didn't happen.
And it's so strange too that they just crawl out of underneath a sleeping bum on the beach at the end. Like, I guess that's a bed.
Can you imagine the bum? Like, what is he thinking? You know?
He slept through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then everybody just runs into the ocean at the end.
I mean, if you're there, you might as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to celebrate that they're alive. They made it out.
Got to. So the school bus ride, then he gets to school. So he's at school for the first time. And while there, he meets Kirsten.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Funny little fact about Kirsten. Guess who almost got the role before the actress plays Kirsten? Danielle Harris.
Oh, wow.
Danielle Harris auditioned for the role and didn't get it. And this chick, I can't remember her name, but the girl that actually plays Kirsten got it over Danielle Harris. So we almost had Danielle Harris in Little Monsters.
Wow. That would be pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
And then where should we go now? Let's go to where he first meets Maurice.
Okay.
Or where he snuck out of bed to make a peanut butter and onion sandwich.
Peanut butter and onion sandwich, and watch a late night show in the living room.
That show is great. Like, hey, we're here tonight talking about chicks.
Exactly, and it's the same actor that plays Snick in another role.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's the same actor. And his little brother also plays like two of the other little monsters during the baseball game.
Yes, yeah, I saw him.
So they put him in two different ones. But yeah, so they reuse a lot of the cast in this, especially the kids during that baseball scene. But yeah, he's eating a peanut butter and onion sandwich. And his little brother.
Which is a thing.
Yeah,
you eat that.
Thing. Yeah. Originally, it was going to be a bologna and onion sandwich. I heard this in the commentary. In the script, it was a bologna and onion sandwich, but they thought that was a little too normal. So they went with, I mean, everybody eats those things. But so they went with the peanut butter and onion sandwich. But yeah, he's eating that. His little brother's upstairs and gets awoken because originally Maurice is like, I guess, his monster that goes after him. So that's when we first hear the first mention of Maurice, unnamed.
It's strange too that they have to later on they switch beds because to prove that there is no monster.
Oh yeah.
But in Maurice's world, there's staircases to every single bed, isn't there? That's my understanding. I mean, later on he's sawing off every. Later on too, he saws off every leg from the bed, and his mom doesn't seem to matter. Like, he's up there sawing the legs off the beds right now. Oh well.
He's coping with them like separating.
Yeah,
is what she was saying.
She's like, well, better than becoming an axe murderer in 10 years. I'm like, what? Because if he saws off bed legs now, he won't grow up to be a murderer. I guess that makes complete sense.
That was kind of alarming to me. It's like you know that the kid, I don't know. It's like you're okay with the kid maybe potentially being an axe murderer.
Right. kind of to backtrack here, you remember when the dad backs up and runs over the bicycle?
Yes.
I mean, was that a monster? Because I didn't know monsters went outside.
Apparently, the light from the outside window hurt him at night.
Is that what it was? Was that what it was? Like,
well, yeah. So how can he get hurt by the window light, but go outside under all the streetlights and everything and move that bike? Yeah.
Yeah.
It made no
I
sense
thought that
at
was
all.
strange.
Yeah, I couldn't figure that out. Because at no point do I ever see the monsters leave a house or like go outside or anything. You know, they go all through a house, but like never outside. So that kind of threw me off. But sorry, sidetrack. They switch rooms because Brian's gonna prove there's no monster. What is it? His little brother says he'll do X amount of chores or something like that, or
something like that.
Something like that. And then when Brian ends up getting scared and sleeping on the couch, like he's like double or nothing.
Double or nothing.
Like,
and that's when he starts his plan.
Yeah. So yeah, he makes the Dorito trap now to bust this monster that's coming out of the bed. And again, I don't understand what the Dorito perimeter is for. Like, if the monster comes out of the bed to eat those chips, and then he's gonna pull the trigger to make the bed fall. But wouldn't the monster already be out from under the bed if he was eating those
I
chips?
think that
or
was
is he just
the
reaching?
purpose.
Oh, so he can't go back in?
Yeah, so that he can trap him to where he can't, go back under the bed because he's trying to prove that he's real.
Now, when we don't know how deadly this monster is, that seems like a plan that could really backfire.
Oh, yeah.
This could very easily not be a kid's movie and be a horror movie that he's in. You know?
So this monster that was just going to go run and hide, now it's stuck in the room with me. This is a good idea.
I mean, I want to know his thought process when he's like, what food product do I use to lure a monster? And he immediately was like, oh, it's Doritos, like without a doubt. It's going to be Doritos, Cool Ranch. I don't know if it was Cool Ranch.
No, it was nacho cheese.
It was nacho cheese. Okay, because monsters hate Cool Ranch.
Yes, that's true. Everybody knows that. But yeah, we have this great montage too of when Brian's putting this trap together. That's for some reason goes to the dinner table as well. Like, I found that funny. He's like taking his bike apart. He's building this pulley contraption thing. Then there's one part of the montage where he's just shoveling food into his face so fast to get back to his.
He's got to get back to it, yeah.
But I'm just like, why even bother with that?
That's what I'm saying. I put it in the microwave, Mom. I'll eat it later.
Yeah.
You know?
Just seemed weird to cut to the dinner table for so long during this cool, like, technical montage. But
funny story. If you noticed in his room, he has a License to Drive poster. On the wall. They threw that in there because 3 of the producers of Little Monsters were also producers on License to Drive that actually released in theaters during the filming of this movie. So they threw that in there.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
You're a fun fact machine.
Hey, like I said, I watched the commentary video of it right before I watched this, or before I jumped on this. So
nice. Yeah, my buddy Matt Kaufman made me a boot of this a long time ago because he had found out that I'd never seen this when I was a kid. So he's just like, we got to change that right now. And so this was maybe probably about 2 or 3 years ago. And he sent me that copy. So that's what I watched, was the copy that he made for me today.
Now, is it a copy of the original Vestron VHS?
I don't think so. I think it's a DVD rip.
Okay, so there's different lines of dialogue in the DVD.
Really?
Yeah. For some reason, they changed some of the dialogue. Like, there's a part where the girl with the long feet, she walks under and she says, any friend of Maurice is a friend of mine. Originally in the Vestron release, I think, and the TV release, it said trick or treat, smell my feet. No idea why they changed that, because it wasn't like necessarily bad or anything.
Okay, I got the feet version. So what am I watching?
Then you're watching the original version.
Original Vestron tape?
Yeah. That's I think the TV and Vestron, and then when they redid it for DVD, for some reason they changed it. Huh. No idea why. Yeah, there's another sign. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, now the one that I watched, I think was the one that you're talking about, like the DVD version, the artisan version.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it had the any friend of Maurice's is a friend of mine.
Yep. And it sounds so out of place. Like, you can tell it wasn't part of the original dialogue. It just sounds odd.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And so I watched it on Tubi TV. So if anybody listening or watching, I know we've already kind of dived into it, but if you want to check it out for free, it's on Tubi TV.
Didn't you just pick it up today too?
Yes, and I just picked it up. I don't know if we're gonna get copyright stuff, but yeah, I did pick up the.
I don't think they'll get mad.
Yeah.
We're promoting.
Yeah, pick up the movie if you haven't already.
But one thing that we haven't touched on yet is I've seen a lot of people say this is for kids. This was a gateway horror for them. For me, I watched it when I was a kid. I watched it probably around 92. I was probably 8 years old. So it wasn't necessarily a gateway horror for me because like I had a young mom that let me kind of watch whatever I wanted to watch, honestly. So I was already watching like Friday the 13th and stuff at this point. But it was when I watched young and I saw it on TV. It was broadcast like on a Saturday during the day or something. And for the longest time, it was kind of pre-internet, like wasn't really on the internet. So for the longest time, I just remembered the kid from The Wizard was in this movie with monsters. And like up until I was probably 20 years old, I never even knew I couldn't remember what the name of the movie was. And then internet came out, and then it was more prevalent, and then I rediscovered it. But I wonder if a lot of people discovered it that way on TV, pre-internet, didn't know what it was until much later.
And it seems like a kind of a hard tape to find too. If you were looking for it before DVD, I don't know. I don't have a copy, nor have I ever seen any in all my thrifting. Like,
I've come across a few, but they're not super common. Honestly, it's like The Wizard. The Wizard's not necessarily really super common either.
Which is shocking to me because I feel like that was a big deal.
Oh yeah, it was overshadowed. The video release came out the same time Batman did, and the original Batman was like everywhere VHS.
Oh yeah.
So I think a lot of stuff around that time on VHS especially got overshadowed. But yeah, Wizard, same thing. Wizard was around that time.
Except for Batman and Robin, I think Matt has all of them copies left.
He's picked them all up for us.
Yeah, slightly off topic, but there's a great YouTube. There's some great YouTube videos about the Batman movie premiere when that came out. Like it was like a star-studded affair. Like they had the stars there, they had the Batmobile there. Like it was an event. Yeah, the streets were packed, filled with people. Like yeah, it was a pretty crazy. You don't see that anymore.
No, I remember every place you went was partnered with Batman somehow, whether it be like McDonald's or going to get in the Batman cereal at the grocery store. Like it was an event, man. It was big.
I still have a sealed box of Batman cereal with the.
Does it have the bank?
It does have the bank in it. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And I really want to open it because I'm curious what the cereal looks like. It's just like I just don't want to open this.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd like go for a YouTube. I'm sure there's a YouTube video of somebody.
Yeah. It's like sealed tapes. I hate because I want to watch the movies, but it's like.
I stopped worrying about sealed tapes, man.
Oh, I don't at all. Yeah.
I'll just open them now, unless I already have one that's open. Then I might not. But
yeah.
Sorry, went way off subject there.
That's cool. Let's go back to monsters.
Back to monsters.
So, like, I do want to mention Maurice's character just in general. Like, when we've all seen Howie Mandel before without makeup on, but I honestly couldn't tell that was him. Like, if someone threw this movie in and I didn't know that Howie Mandel was in it, I would have not even guessed that was him.
I can agree. Like the voice, I can kind of tell, but like I wouldn't have paired that up. I wouldn't have matched that up on my own. Because the makeup's pretty good. The makeup artists in this movie were actually the same makeup artists from Beetlejuice. They had just seen Beetlejuice and hired them. They had a much smaller budget, obviously, and had to reuse a lot of the appliances. But and Howie Mandel, he was kind of coming off of Walk Like a Man. That's what he had did prior to this, so he was still kind of relatively unknown. And he didn't make another movie after this for a while. He went off and did Bobby's World after this.
Great show.
Oh yeah, Bobby's World was great.
The intro is so trippy, even like nowadays.
Well, my mom used to tell me that was about me. Like she used to be like, "Oh, your show's on. This is the adventures of you," and I'm like, "Oh man, like cool." I'd go to school and I'd tell people like, "Hey, did you watch my show this weekend?" Like that. My mom told me that was about me. And then I had a buddy. I don't know if you guys have heard of RC Cola.
Yeah.
So RC Cola. I went to school. I won't say his name, but his initials were RC. And he's like, "Oh man, that's cool. Did you know that RC Cola is named after me?" Because his mom told him that. So for the longest time, I was like, "Man, I tell my parents like their family's rich. They own RC Cola." So it's wild. So for the longest time, I thought Bobby's World was about me.
That's awesome.
But yeah, Howie Mandel. We had the dude that played Boy was actually a pretty well-known actor in a lot of stuff. He was actually filming a movie with Tom Cruise at the same time he was filming this. So he would fly from Wilmington to wherever the set was that he was filming with Tom Cruise. And one day he showed up and he couldn't remember his lines. And Tom Cruise cussed him out and told him if he wasn't off in Wilmington, North Carolina, making a trash movie, that he would remember his lines. So that's one of the stories that he was talking about on
Stay classy, Cruise.
Oh, I'm telling you. And Howie Mandel apparently hated making this film, from what I hear.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So apparently he respects it now for what it was, but he did not have a good time filming this movie.
What did he not have a good time with? Was it just? Well, I imagine the makeup.
Yeah, the makeup was one, and he said that the director made him, like when they're underground under the bed, you know how all the steps he'd walk down, he would say that his walk wasn't right, so he would take after take after take of walking down these pallet steps.
No.
Oh, he wrecked your knees after a while.
Yeah, and everybody knows that he's a well-known germaphobe. Like, he does not like germs at all. They filmed in an old decommissioned warehouse, and when they weren't filming or on camera, they had to wear masks because there was mold. And obviously that didn't sit well with him at all. So, so I can see why. I understand Howie.
So, but it doesn't show in the film.
No, he's all into it.
He brings it his all, and he's totally got that spazzy character kind of shtick down. Yeah, it's like you watch it now and it's just like, imagine how annoying that would be to actually hang out with that guy.
Well, he's an annoying. I think he's supposed to be 12 in the movie. I think at one point they say he's 12 or something like that, and he does come across as an annoying 12-year-old at some point, especially the baseball, the need him, got him, need him, got him.
Exactly. I mean, and then he spins around. He's not even looking at him after a while. So it's just you're just saying need him, got him at this point.
Yeah, he's constantly moving. Like, it's nuts.
He also makes that weird line that he's been doing this for 200 years.
Yeah, which makes no sense.
So it's like, was he a kidnapped kid who just stuck at age 12 in monster form now?
That could very well be
true, actually. Yeah.
And it's so weird that we're not given any motivation for the monsters, like why they want to scare the kids or what they're like.
Nope.
What is this accomplishing? You're just coming up out of somebody's bed to scare an infant and then disappear back under their bed again. Like, dude, is that really the best use of your time you got going on right now?
Apparently they act like it's fun to them, but after a while, does it not get old? Like, I'd rather be down there playing baseball with everybody, to be honest with you. Or exploring, there's a lot of exploring to do down there. And if I'm a 12-year-old kid, that's what I want to do is explore.
Yeah.
I do want to mention when we're watching this scene where when Maurice is showing Brian the underworld, and you see all the monsters having fun playing games and whatnot. It really reminded me of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where all of Shredder's.
Oh, the Foot Clan den there? Yeah.
The Foot Clan when they're trying to recruit.
Half pipe in arcade games.
That's why. And where are the monsters getting all? Are they still in the food from the houses and then bringing them down? Is that what they're doing? To get all the food and stuff? I
don't know. It looked like they had a whole platter of cheeseburgers. But you're not going to get all those cheeseburgers. They all look the same from one person's house. So is there a monster stuff down there?
Do they hope somebody falls asleep in a McDonald's so they can come out from under them?
They're hoping a bum is sleeping right next to a McDonald's so they can just kind of crawl from underneath them.
Yeah. Or there's literally in the background arcade machines and stuff and pinball machines. So did somebody go up there and literally sneak an entire pinball machine under somebody's bed to get it back down there? Where does the limit end? How far can you pick the bed up before it's technically not a bed anymore?
Well, that's another problem I have with this, where, after the first time he meets Maurice, he scares him. They have the wrestle thing in the dark, and then when he finally goes back under the bed, he straight up lifts that bed up with just one arm.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "My name's Maurice. I'll see you later." And goes back down. But later on in the movie, he's sawing the bed legs off. But it's like, dude, he already proved that he could just lift the bed with one arm in the middle. What is that? What is the sawing legs going to do for anything?
Yeah, he can hold the bed up, and then when he throws the trash can on the clothes, he's having a rough time at first picking just Fred Savage up.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Well, I think he might have been messing with him there. I think he had the strength to just straight up.
Because he does at the end, technically. Throws him off. Makes sense.
He lifts everybody up in the end, but yeah, he just and they also lift the beds constantly when they're going under them. So it's I just don't understand what the whole sawing bed legs later on in the movie was supposed to. Just one of the weird things that don't make sense in this.
Yeah. And toward, at one point Fred Savage is even able to go without Maurice under the bed.
Mm-hmm.
So like, does that mean is that because he's slowly turning into a monster? He has that ability now, or?
I think that's what they were saying. Yeah, the more time he spends down there in Monster World, the more he starts changing. That's when he starts shrinking and starts losing weight.
Yeah.
Which is again, this movie just throws all these ideas out, but like never has any like reason for them or backstory to this.
Right.
So it's just kind of like piecing it together. I almost feel like this might, in an original draft, had more backstory to things, because
I feel like it has to.
You don't ever know where Maurice came from. There isn't like a bunch of other Maurices down there. It seems all the monsters are like littler for one. Yeah. Like he's like the only adult monster, save from Slick, Snick, and Boy.
And Boy, yeah.
So there's only like 3 adult monsters in the whole realm that we ever see. Everybody else seems like they're kids.
Oh, and
the
bug lady.
Yep.
I don't know what kind of animal that lady thing's supposed to be, or bug thing, whatever, spider, caterpillar, whatever.
Yeah.
But she's odd. Like she still freaks me out to this day. Like I don't feel like the actor was the one doing that voice.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't match up to me at all.
That part kind of bothered me because they kind of chipmunked the voice there, where it's I just thought that was kind of cheap. Like I thought it would have been cooler if it had like an actual somebody doing a real weird voice, not just a.
I feel like it too.
Yeah.
I feel like it too.
Yeah.
I would have loved to seen some backstory on Boy and Snick, because that literally, Boy is like third act. Like you don't hear about, you hear about Boy's staircase. That's all you hear about. But like
such a weird thing to keep talking about somebody but never seeing him or never even knowing like
why he's here. Like I know at one point he wants him to stay to play with him. So I guess Boy's whole motivation is to kids like to come down and then him try to keep them there, like to play with them, whatever. But I don't think he actually wants to play with them. I think he wants to kill them. Like the whole time, it doesn't seem like he wants to play with Brian. Like he wants to kill him.
And what's he doing up there all that time in that room that nobody's allowed into? Like, got building model airplanes to shoot kids at the end.
It almost seems like Maurice is almost in on it too, because he's good at coaxing the kids to come down in there and make it seem like it's a good time, and then you have like Boy wanting the kids to stay down there, and then Snick just seems like he's the Mr. Boss Man and he's telling them what to do and whatnot.
Well, he tells Snick to drop Brian when he's holding him. He's like, all right, fine, drop him. And he starts to walk off. Like, he could have technically dropped him there and killed him. And then what would Maurice have did? Like, oh, well, all right.
Gotta find another kid.
Bring another one down here into danger. Yeah.
Snick was another character that I didn't enjoy him that much, because he was definitely on the Daniel Stern angry spectrum. Like, I felt like he just kind of brought things down where it was just this grump. Like, what the hell is up with that? What the hell is up with that scene where he's got the little kid and he's like, I'm going to stick my thumb in your eye, and I'm going to pull your mouth a little like this, and I'm just going to tear your head off your shoulders. Like, whoa, dude.
And what's up with the makeup for that monster? I feel like that was like the laziest thing I could think of.
It's so weird, yeah.
Yeah, because he's just like this.
The kid thing with the hand.
Yeah, he's just like that. That's all he's doing. And I'm like, that don't even look like a monster. They just look like a kid doing this. Like,
yeah, because he had hands too, though. Like, I think that was what they were saying, was like, that was his monster body. Like, it was holding his head. So like, he didn't actually rip his head off. He just pulled it off of his hands that were holding it.
That makes a lot of sense.
Thought. Yeah.
Maybe.
But still, yeah, it's just cheesy. Like, what?
Yeah, that was one of the ones I just absolutely hated. And like, you can see that too. You can see where they put the money in the effects, especially when there's a bunch of them, like during the baseball scene. Some of the really horrible effects show up in that baseball scene, because there's like, it's just like, if you look in the background, it's literally a dude with a mask on, and it ain't even tucked into his shirt. It's like flopped over his shirt. Like, it's like, put a mask on, stand there. Like they did some really cheap stuff in some parts of this.
Well, I know they were going, Vestron was going bankrupt during
this. They
were,
too. Yeah.
So
they sold
and yeah, it didn't seem like they have a lot of faith in this movie. And when it did come out to the theaters, it was only in like 100 or so movie theaters. It had a very, very small release.
Only grossed 800,000, yeah, at the highest point. Yep. So yeah, I don't think they did. They didn't have a lot of faith at all. I know they said that it developed somewhat of a cult following on VHS. when it released, and any money or popularity that it made was on VHS. The theatrical release did nothing for this movie. They did have a hotline. Did you see the hotline?
Oh, the preview at the beginning was great.
Yes.
Did you see this one, Marcus? The 900 number? Or did you?
I didn't catch that one.
I don't think it's on the. So yeah, I definitely had the Vestron rip then because I watched that trailer in the beginning of my copy.
Yeah, it's on YouTube if you want to check it out later. But it's during the time of call and talk to Maurice for $1.99 a minute, like.
And it's a rap song, and it goes forever.
Oh, it's long, dude. It's almost a full-length rap. It's like.
Wow. Yeah, I totally did not see that at all in the version I watched.
But yeah, there's some cool prizes. The grand prize is a trip to Hawaii, and you could also win a pinball table. Not the same pinball table they showed in the movie, because that makes sense. You could win some K-Swiss sneakers and an autographed picture of Fred Savage. Just what every kid wants. Yeah. But yeah, definitely go check that out. That song is amazing.
Oh, it is great. It is great.
Definitely gonna check it out tonight.
Oh yeah. All right. So let's try to get back. All right. So he finds out Maurice is real. He hangs out with him for a while. He finds out Brian has been kidnapped by Boy. So he's gonna go try to. He technically goes after Boy twice. The first time he fails miserably because he doesn't have a team.
Yeah, that's another weird jumping way ahead into the movie.
Yeah.
He just kind of goes and recruits people, but then they recruit the bully. But there's no scene of him like. I feel like that would be a tough sell. Like, hey, dude, that totally hates me, that wants to fight me and beat me up. I need you to go help me fight monsters. Are you cool with that? And that kid's just like, yep.
Yeah,
totally on board.
Yeah,
and I'm assuming the only reason they get him is because he's the only one big enough to carry all the batteries. Is that what it was? Because I noticed he's the one carrying everything. So I guess they're like, we got to get
all
him.
The equipment.
Yeah.
But I just don't know why he would go with him. Like,
I don't know. I mean,
I feel like that's a scene
of apple juice, man. Right? Like, I'm gonna hate you forever.
So let's talk about that a little bit too. The pranks that they do. That's the whole game of the monster. That's the whole game that the monsters seem to have, is to go under people's beds, scare the kids, and frame them for doing bad things.
Yeah. They don't even get to see the result because it happens during the day.
Exactly, and then they disappear. So like, their whole legacy is just getting a bunch of kids in trouble for kids doing nothing. And then we see that scene where all the kids are like getting blamed and like crying to their parents. It's kind of weird. Like, oh, these poor kids.
Like when Brian and Maurice go to Kirsten's room, and
what is up with that?
Yeah, he's like sneaking around her room, and he sees the picture of Brian sees his own picture on her mirror, and
so that's another thing, dude. You're sneaking into this girl's house that you like and spying on her while she sleeps, while your monster friend is doing tongue flicks at her sleeping head. Like, what is going on?
Weird.
Yeah, a little odd. And then we also find out that Maurice can shapeshift, or at least his limbs can shapeshift into like a dog.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, if you can do that, why didn't at the end of the battle you just turn into something like huge and like eat Boy? Like.
Yeah.
And they also make a masturbation joke with the dog hand
they
too.
Do. Yes,
where he's like, every man's best friend is right hand.
It's right hand. Yep.
Because it was a kids movie.
Yeah. Well, at one point, one of the monsters tells Brian when he's underground, he says, "Hey, nice ass." Like, literally says, "Hey, nice ass," and I was like, "What?" Like
why is Maurice stretching his Mr. Fantastic arms to pull your pants down? Why is girl? What is going on?
Bro, odd stuff, man. Yeah. Definitely a movie you couldn't make today with the same stuff. There's just no way.
And there definitely a red flag pulled.
Oh yeah,
if they try to make it today.
And we definitely tapped on it already. But the cruelest thing is the piss jar. Like, oh my gosh, like they totally like swap. Okay, it's funny when they swap the tuna fish out with cat food. That's funny. But then to straight up piss and make somebody drink it, like what the
This is monster piss too. We do not know what's in this.
Oh shit, yeah. How's that gonna react?
And he like literally just turns around while Brian's looking in his fridge, and he's just like peeing away.
Just like not even drinking all the apple juice, is like all crazy, man. Like what the hell?
So the bully's parents are going to wake up in the morning and find just like a pool of apple juice
And pissed because I guarantee he didn't get all in the
Oh,
bottle.
yeah.
Like he went all over the place, bro. Like
Unless he has like a long stringy monster, we don't know what it looks like.
dude,
It
it
could have
might
just
be a
gone to
little
the
dog
bottom.
red rocket. We don't even know. We don't know what Maurice's got. He might have been perfect aim. Who knows?
But the scene where he gets the bully with the piss cracks me up. I love it.
Oh
Because
yeah.
the bully eats a big bite of the sandwich, then he's like, "Oh, what the hell?" And then he drinks the piss, and then he just blows like the most disgusting looking vomit chunks all over the principal.
Yeah. All over. Perfect timing. Principal walks right by at the perfect time.
Yeah.
And then the excitement on Brian's face.
Yeah.
He is high-fiving and everything. Yeah. Like he loves it. And I'm like, all right. Even wearing like the sunglasses during school because he's been up all night in the monster world, like
a little tiny hungover.
Yeah, hungover little kid for the monster world.
Yeah,
I will say we forgot to mention the sandwich had cat food in it.
Cat food, yeah.
It was supposed to be like a tuna sandwich, but
I've never ate cat food, but I feel like it would kind of taste like tuna.
It doesn't.
Like on a sandwich. It doesn't.
I just know. Like seriously, when I think I was like 18, maybe 17 or 18, I was just like, I wonder what cat food tastes like. I wonder if I could eat that, because I think it's just to survive off like a whole meal for like 59 cents. And I got it. And, I couldn't do. I tried dog food too. Same idea.
Right, so I tried not wet dog food, but like little treats. They have the ones that taste like, they say they taste like little pepperoni pizzas. So I'm like, I'm a 12-year-old kid. I'm like, I'm gonna try it. It did not taste like pepperoni pizza at all.
At least you were 12. I was definitely in my teens.
I was like,
this is sometime in high school where I was just like, I could just probably eat for so much more money to spend on movies and stuff if I just eat a can of cat food.
I just love cat food.
Yep. Nope.
Now I'll tell you, it's actually a well-known thing. A lot of older ladies do eat cat food. When I started my first job, I was like 14. I worked at a grocery store. Lady would come in all the time buy cat food. She openly told me she ate cat food. Her and her cats shared cat food, and that's what she lived off of. So apparently it's a thing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
She's acquired a taste from over the years.
Hey, they have.
Whew. I don't think I could do it. I don't think I've ever tried.
I don't think I could do it either.
I have tried like just the dry dog food. Was just like wondering, like, these dogs eat it all the time. It's gotta be pretty good.
It doesn't taste like anything. It's just so bitter and like nothing there.
I just love the fact that all of us have got so bored at one point that we've ate dog food.
Well, I was trying to be thrifty.
Right.
I'm hoping people that watch this or listen to this will be like, you know what? I've tried it too.
Yeah.
They're like, they put in the comments. Yeah, put in the
comment
comments.
Comment down below. Do you guys eat cat food?
You ever tried a piece of dog food?
And who drank piss at school?
Yeah, because we all have.
I did actually have a friend that got into that in high school, and it was foul, and he kept trying to get me to do it too, and I was like, no. He started drinking his own piss and like showing me all these readouts of like medical facts about it and the benefits, and yeah, it's just like, no, I'm good with that, bro. You can.
I'm gonna sit over here and eat my cat food.
You do your thing. Yeah.
Oh man, all right, that was a fun trip. So all right, so yeah, he tries to go attack boy, and that's when. Is that when all the toys come to life and it scares him off? No. The toys come later too, as well, right?
They do, but before we even get to part one of the boy thing, what? This is another weird thing about this movie. They kidnap his brother. Is it Eric?
Yeah, Eric.
Yeah. So like, Brian doesn't want to join Maurice, or doesn't want to. He gets mad at the pranks, so he doesn't want to do it anymore. So they somehow go kidnap his brother out of the blue.
Why not kidnap him?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Snick could easily get out and grab him, and Brian wouldn't do nothing.
So
why try to lure Brian down there? Like,
I think they're trying to lure more kids. They're going to try to get both the brothers.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah, if you steal Brian or steal Eric, you'll get Brian as well. So that makes sense.
Because Brian's not gonna, Brian knows what's going on, so he's not gonna just leave his brother down there.
But he did try to release Eric to keep Brian at one point. So that was the deal he made. Whether he was going to keep it or not, I don't know.
But yeah, like I was saying, like Snick could just get up there and grab both those kids and go back under the bed. Like he could. He's a giant.
He could get Brian and he could come back the next night and get Eric. I mean, like.
So I was very confused watching this because I hadn't seen it for a while, and they just kept mentioning boy, and half the time I thought they said Boyd, and then
Boyd.
a lot of time it said boy. But yeah, who is Boy? Like, and then we finally meet him, and it's like he's got Eric on this dartboard spin wheel thing all chained up, throwing lawn darts at him, which is twisted. And like,
I mean, as a
what is the
villain,
end game? Yeah,
he's a great villain. Like, he is creepy looking. I would love to know his backstory. Like, he's the most, in my opinion, he's even more interesting to me than Maurice is. Like, Boy is super interesting to me. I want to know why he looks like this. Like, because my thing is, like, when they start turning into monsters, what kind of monsters do they turn into? Is it like a manifestation of something that's part of them? So, like, they look like this because in their real life they did this, or what? And, like, was Boy bad before? And then, like, he chose to stay down there? Like, there's just so much things that I think could happen from Boy that they don't get to talk about.
And it's weird too. Like, we do. Maurice doesn't start out with horns. Remember, he grows those when he gets the first blast of sunlight. So, does the sunlight cause mutations? Are all the other monsters with some weird kind of mutations like that happen from the sunlight? Like, maybe that kid looked normal, and then the sun hit him one day, and now he's got hands that's come out of his.
It could have been. And like Boy, I think you mentioned before, Matt. Boy, did he have somebody's face on? Was that what was left of his face?
That's what my feelings were, because you look, his skin is all wrinkled around the top of his head.
It's like stretched.
Then they show him from behind, and it looks like everything's pulled back like that and stuck there. Like,
that's what I'm thinking. So
total,
maybe
total Leatherface kind of deal. So where did you get this skin, dude?
That's it. Yeah. Like, did you have skin before, and maybe you got in the sunlight and it melted the skin off, and now you use other kids' faces or something? Which, that's not a kid's face anyway. That's like a grown man's face. Like,
no, he's one of the 3 adults that live in Monsterland.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like there was probably backstory at some point, and they just ran out of money or time or something.
Yep. But yeah, there's a lot of things I'd like to know about these monsters that we don't, and we'll never know.
Yeah. Well, we do know that they do not like sunlight or any kind of bright lights.
Yeah. Which, fortunately, when the only friend that Brian really beats is a girl that has access to all the lights they can handle.
Yeah.
So that worked out great.
And can we also talk about how savage these kids are? Like, once they get those lights, they go into Monsterland together. They just start blasting monsters with lights. Willy-nilly.
Just didn't even do anything.
I know.
They're just, like,
they're just playing pinball and shit. It's like,
damn. It's literally just a monster running away, and they're like, shoot him in the back. Like, I'm like, bro, that's just mean.
Nobody was attacking you or anything, ever.
I mean, are they dead?
I don't think so, because that's how they get Maurice out of the ball pit pool.
That's what I was thinking.
The animal pool.
Boy, they zap him, and he, like, literally is gone. He's done. Yeah. And his clothes fold up neatly. Like, so, like, at a certain point of light, is it like you're done? And then, like, because that's what I'm thinking. Because, like, is Boy done now?
I'm not sure, because what's his nut Snick got blown up too and just pulled himself back together again. So
that's true. And the only thing that killed him was the fire or whatever. When he got the flame.
Which was so lazy, I thought. Like, really? Like, they didn't make up any kind of weird weakness or anything. You just, where'd you get a flamethrower down there? Did you steal that from somebody's house?
Something that puts off that much light. If I was a monster, I wouldn't bring down there.
No. Like, and wouldn't that hurt him too? Like, flamethrowers are bright.
It literally went on him too. So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of rules they don't follow. Because like you were saying, Maurice goes into clothes, they push him under the door, he comes back. Mm-hmm. They hit Boy with the light, he's gone forever. They hit. I wouldn't think fire would kill a monster. Like, I figured only light does it, but apparently fire does it too. So I don't know. Lots of different rules that are very odd.
Yep.
In I was just reading. I guess they do tell you, like, why Maurice can't come back or whatever. Like, I guess like when they try to make it through the to the exit or whatever, like, because the sunrise had already risen, so they like were gonna be lost down there unless they
well, yeah, that made sense. They can't, once the sun comes up, that door is locked for them.
It's done, yeah.
But are they closed are they stuck down there for eternity then? That's kind of what they make it out. That's kind of what they make it out to be, but like wouldn't they be able to just come out the next day?
See, I'm assuming by the next day you're turned into a monster.
Oh,
that's what I'm assuming.
That fast. Okay.
That's what I would assume. That's what I'm taking from it. And like I said, all this, like a good majority of those monsters down there are obviously kids. Mm-hmm. So there's like missing posters everywhere. Families looking for their kids. Little did they know they're like trapped under the bed, you know?
Oh, this makes sense now. Why they ended up all the way in Malibu was because the sunrise hadn't risen yet, so they had to travel to some other kid's bed.
Time zones. Yep, they had to go through the time zones and stuff. Yeah.
So that makes sense. Like why they're way over there.
Yeah, they had. How does this scale? Is there a train? Is that a train?
Yeah, there's a train in my area. Sorry about that.
Wow, I haven't heard a train in a while. I'm not near a train.
Unfortunately, I live by one, so.
It's a good thing you love train horns.
All right, good thing you're like a big fan of
train enthusiast.
Yeah, good thing.
We're gonna pause this podcast, guys. I'm gonna go out and watch the train. Be right back.
I need to change my podcast to the Rude Train podcast or something.
We're gonna talk about top 10 conductors of the 20th century on the train.
New format, guys. Roll with me. Chugga.
Okay. What's your favorite caboose? Oh man,
sorry about that, guys. We're way off track.
Off track. Ah.
That's the name of the podcast. Off track with Marcus.
Yeah.
Yep. Start next week, guys.
Convert to wear one of those conductor hats.
Yep, get rid of the wooden train whistles you can get at souvenir shops. Oh man.
All right, well, I did read that they are in a suburban area in Boston, so they are on the East Coast.
Okay.
So that's where it takes. Okay, so she does say Massachusetts at the end. So
I wonder why they even what's the point of even changing the location? They could have just said we're in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Yeah, same deal.
The location literally
same time zone. Yeah.
Even the beach at the end that's supposed to take place in California takes place at Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina. So it's like, why not just be in North Carolina?
Yep.
You know, there was no point in making it be Boston. There was no story plot that needed to be Boston.
So, so the boy fight's kind of weird.
It is.
When they go to stop him, and he lets out all the tanks and airplanes.
Straight up demonic toys.
Yeah, exactly.
Straight up demonic toys.
And they're playing for keeps too, man. Those tanks are blowing things up left and right.
Straight up saw blades.
Saw blades on the floor.
Like if that would have got one of those kids, like fucking gore galore, you know, like it would have been like they're out for blood. They're out to kill. They're not out to like scare them. You know, they're not trying to kill at this point.
So then. But you gotta ask yourself, like, what is the grand end game here? Because didn't they want these kids to be monsters? Like,
I thought so, yeah. But they're literally just trying to kill
them and lose them. Yeah.
And like, that's his game. He's trying to kill them because like, there's no other outcome from a saw blade.
But I kind of love it when it's going after her and she's just like looking down at them and it's like, oh, okay, well you could kind of just stand still.
Oh yeah, like or beside you, yeah. Let's talk about how useless some of these kids are. Technically, one in general.
Okay.
Eric's friend is pointless.
Yeah.
You got the big kid that carries everything. You got Kirsten who is in charge of the lights and everything. You got Brian that's there for his brother. Eric's friend, just a casualty, bro. I thought for sure he was going to die at some point. He's comedic relief or something.
He was just a believer that there's monsters. That's all. He was the one that brought up the story about at like the very beginning of the movie. I know we're backtracking.
A friend of my cousin's roommate's friend.
Yeah.
Whatever they tell the story.
Yeah, he goes on that spiel about that there was a monster under his bed.
I also thought it was weird too when Brian went to that kid's house to get him, and the first thing that kid did was like make a cross. He was like, "No, like why? Like
why did you think he was a vampire?"
That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like there's some missing scene or something that was led up to.
Oh, there is a scene, bro. He asked him if he's a vampire when he's wearing the sunglasses earlier in the movie. He says something to Eric about it. I didn't think about
Alright,
that
that
till
makes
just
sense.
now.
I didn't either. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I literally did not. I've seen this movie a million times and literally just now connected the dots on that. Okay, so I get that. Still, kind of don't make sense anyway. It's like a straight up Fright Night scene, you know. But yeah, so he goes to get him. He joins because he says, "Oh, Eric's my friend. I'm gonna go say, I'm gonna go help him." We don't know what they say to the big kid bully because it doesn't make sense.
It's such a weird scene to me that he just shows up and he's like, I'm on your side now.
Of all kids, of all the kids they could pick, really, I'd go if I was a 12-year-old kid. I'd probably go tell my dad. Like, in all honesty, I'd be like, "You're not gonna believe this, Dad, but I'm gonna prove it to you. Watch when I put my hand under this bed. Yeah. Now I need you to get like a gun and come with me. Like, bring your gun and we're gonna go shoot these monsters and take your son back."
To go way back, it's a really weird comment from Maurice too when he first shows up and he's like, "I'm gonna scream." And he's like, "Oh, if you're screaming, your dad's gonna come here with a 12-gauge shotgun, blow your head off." Like, whoa.
Yeah.
What?
Like, bro, you let's tuck it to that next level.
Yeah.
You're trying to get this kid killed now, not just in trouble.
Seriously.
Jeez.
Yeah.
There's some weird lines in this. Yeah.
There's some like crazy weird lines in this.
There's also that weird line where Brian was sleeping in class too that we never see who says it. Where is that yelling?
Oh,
yelling, I can't remember how it goes, but it's just like
was it wake up or good morning?
Good morning, Brian.
Yeah,
like,
it's like straight up good morning Vietnam. Robin Williams in the classroom, man.
We're doing that.
Yeah, it's like, and you can tell it was obviously like added later because it was like not part of the scene. Like, it didn't match up with any audio.
Nope.
Yeah. Well, even like Daniel Stern, like he was trying to be funny when Eric said that he seen Eric when he seen a monster under his bed, and the dad was like, "Well, I don't know if there's any monster down," and then, he's pretending like, that he got grabbed and pulls out his underwear and throws it at his face.
Which doesn't make sense with the overall plot of the story, because that's the only scene really that he's nice to him. That's the only scene that you see him get along with their mom.
Mm-hmm.
Just that one scene, and then all the rest of the time, the parents are arguing with each other. He's arguing with the kids. Like what happened during that scene that all of a sudden made him happy?
And I love too that the kid's afraid of monsters. So the best thing to do is to fake getting attacked, and then when you come back with the flashlight, he does that creepy.
Yeah, right?
It's just like, dude, you are the worst dad.
No wonder he's afraid of monsters.
Yeah.
Right.
Daniel. So they end up killing Boy after doing like 2 scenes in a row. It's bizarre. They get there, they kind of mess up, and they try it again. And it's almost like the same play for play.
It is.
Yep.
When I rewatched it after not watching it for a while, I was like, "Oh, here's the part," and I was like, "Where's the bully?" I forgot there was ever like another time. Like it's odd, and it's almost back to back too. Like they go in, then it's like
strange.
Just a couple minutes, and then they're back again. Exact same play. Like it's wild.
So, but they do end up taking out Boy and Snick, and then they need to get out of there. So they have that big epic book that I thought that was so neat, where they're like, "Oh shit, we got to go to a different time zone." And everything. So I thought that was kind of cool, and in a cheap, effective way to do it too. They just kind of run by the wall.
And it's a time filler. Yeah, and it says way to fill time because that's kind of a long scene where they're just like running. Oh, here's a sign. Oh, they go up the steps. Oh, it's closed. And that's like 10 minutes, bro. Like where they're just doing that. So it's an effective way to kill time. A race against the clock kind of thing.
I love when they get to Phoenix there. There's somebody coming down the stairs and they're all like smoking.
They're all
yeah.
Oh,
that's
man.
Funny. So I thought that was cool. But then I'm so confused still by like what happened in the end. Why? I mentioned that earlier. Like, why can't I don't understand the touching moment at the end with Maurice and Brian, where it's just like, dude, can't you just come back tomorrow night? Like, visit me? Like, strange.
It don't make sense to me. Like, he could. Like I said, I'm thinking the only reason is he's trying to close the book on like being a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But then once again, his brother's not. So you can come see his brother, and you can just like go in the room and hang out with him.
Yep.
Like,
I love too when they were talking to I think Snick and was saying something to Maurice like, now these boys know all our secrets of down here. When he was mad at him for bringing Brian down, He was like, yeah.
What secrets?
Now they know our secrets. Like, what are you gonna do? Tell your parents there's Monster World under the bed? Like,
Yeah.
nobody's gonna buy that.
And first off, what secrets? Like, other than that, there's monsters under the bed. There's nothing like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's monsters under the bed. Okay, what else? They play baseball. What?
What?
You know, like, they eat Bojangles. What? Like, I don't know what else is crazier than the fact that there's monsters. That's the key there, is that there's monsters. The other stuff don't matter.
Some of them are goofy looking, and then some aren't. They look like regular people, but just look really dirty.
Can you imagine? Yeah, they do look really dirty. Can you imagine the kid that got scared by the monster that looks like this? So when he's trying to describe how scary this monster is, he's like, it climbed out of the bed like this. I'd be like, and then what?
Like the Home Alone kid?
Kevin McAllister climbed out from under your bed. Like, that's scary.
I do want to mention when he said something about that he can come back and visit Eric. You know, that's a missed opportunity for a sequel.
Oh,
you know, Brian's all grown up, and then, you know, they could have made a sequel with Eric being like what Brian is now.
Yeah.
Or they could do a real-time sequel right now with
they could.
Brian all grown up and Maurice is coming to visit his kid.
Yeah.
They could do that. They could totally steal the plot of Drop Dead Fred, and he's went through, like, you know, counseling and stuff, and he's like, at this point, like, oh, it wasn't real, I imagined it all. And then Maurice pops out and was like, I need you, you know. He'd be like, oh crap, he's battling with, no, I'm just going crazy, you know. Like, it could work. They could just still Drop Dead Fred and, like, do that.
That would be crazy if it had a sequel that came out now.
Dude, Howie would never sign up for this sequel.
Yeah.
They'd have to get somebody new, man. They'd get whoever's hot in Hollywood right now. It'd be like The Rock and Kevin Hart playing Maurice and Brian, you know.
Oh, geez, what was that? The Planes, Trains, and Automobiles remake that they announced. What is up with that?
Bro, what a crazy cast.
Yeah.
What a crazy cast. Yeah, I don't even know. It's like the Golden Girls. Like, did you see the casting for the Golden Girls remake?
I didn't even know there was one.
Oh, yeah.
What?
They just casted a Golden Girls remake, bro. And, like, I don't get the Golden Girls vibe at all. At all. I hope Marcus is searching Golden Girls remake right now.
Yeah, I want to know who they have in the cast for that.
And, like, I'm just going to go and say it has nothing to do with race or anything like that. It's just the picks. They don't match up with their original. Like, there's no original vibe, bro. Like, it doesn't feel the
this. 1920, Sicily.
Yeah, what would it be 1920? What would it be like? 1981, Chicago.
Picture this, 1981.
I can picture that. Oh, no, I can't. I was born in 84. If they say 84, I can picture that.
There was a kid in a William Shatner's mask, and he was tormenting Haddonfield.
That seems like so long ago.
So yeah, back to the monsters.
Yes.
What the hell is up with the ending of this movie? Like,
bro,
he talked to his mom on the phone. And he was like, "What are you doing in Malibu?" He's like, "It's kind of a long story. Freeze. Done." Like, what?
Are you gonna tell your? I mean, sure, they're gonna have a long drive or fly back. So
Yeah.
I guess they. Bro, I like, as a parent, if my kid called me and told me that, I don't know where I would start. I'd be like, well, first off, I don't know where to tell you to go to stay safe. Like, I don't.
Oh yeah.
You don't know where I mean, I guess a police station?
You go to the police.
Yeah, like, go to the police and stay there, and, like, we're gonna figure this out. Like,
We'll be out there a day or two.
yeah, like, dude, and those kids.
Or they could be like, well, that's gonna look fishy if they go to the police, because then they're gonna look at the parents, be like, well, where the hell were you when these kids are all the way across the country?
Why is this kid wearing a big dirty leather jacket?
Yeah.
Why is this kid still got bologna on his shirt, like, with mustard? Like, I don't understand what's wrong.
And they got all these flashlights.
Yeah. So, like, let me ask you this. So Brian obviously is like 12 years old. I'm assuming his brother's around 7 or 8. Is that about right, you think? 7, 8 years old, something like that.
Yeah.
So
6 or 7 maybe.
Yeah. So he's around there. I guess his friend is in the same grade as him, so he's about the same. Man, can you imagine if those kids were just, like, in California, didn't know what to do? Like, at that age, those kids don't know what to do.
No. I also find it kind of coincidental that, just like in The Wizard, Fred Savage ends up in California in the end of this movie.
Does. And he meets a quirky girl that helps him along the way. Like,
Yeah.
he has his little brother with him.
Weird, man.
Are we talking about Little Monsters?
Yeah.
Or the wizard. Like, I don't know.
The bully's like that kid that steals his money in
Yeah.
the pickup truck.
Yep. They steal the money out of the lunchbox.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a movie we need to talk about sometime in the future. Is The Wizard?
Oh, I totally do the Wizard with you.
I love The Wizard.
Me too.
No joke. Little Monsters is my second favorite movie of all time.
Oh wow.
And the Wizard is number one.
Yep.
Like, that's my number one movie in the whole world. But okay, so at the end, when I was a kid and I saw this movie, the Talking Heads song that plays at the end of this movie, that was the first time I'd ever heard Talking Heads, and I absolutely loved this song, The Road to Nowhere.
Yep.
And to this day, I still love it because of Little Monsters. I think of Little Monsters every time that I hear this. The song Road to Nowhere wasn't actually released by Talking Heads till like 1995, and it was released on an album called Little Critters, which is, it has to be some kind of connection.
Oh, so it never actually was on an album, but it was
Apparently
in the movie
not.
5 years before. Like
Apparently, yeah.
crazy.
So I'm assuming either, I don't think they made it for this movie, but I think it was a track that they had. And then they released it exclusively on this movie, and then later put it out on an album, which, such a popular, catchy song, you would think that it would have been on something other than a movie that nobody was watching. You know?
Unless it had something to do with like the rights to whoever's in charge of the soundtrack for the, they could have maybe bought it from Talking Heads.
Could have been licensed for X amount of years. Like, yeah.
Right.
Only song that's better in this movie than Road to Nowhere is Magic of the Night, which was wrote especially for this movie. It was never released on anything ever. The guy that wrote Magic of the Night is kind of like a composer for movies. He performed this one and he performed one other song, but it's never been officially released on anything. So Magic of the Night.
Ooh, I like the song I Love the Sound of Breaking Glass. It's played
yeah.
game.
That one's a good one too, yeah.
And it fit in with the scene perfectly because.
Oh, it did, yeah, because they're breaking glass. Yeah, that's a really good one. I love that one. I love Magic of the Night. I love Road to Nowhere. There's a lot of cool, like, quirky songs that they've got in this movie, which is pretty neat.
Marcus, you there? You're frozen. Oh,
yeah, there he goes. Now he's moving.
Yeah, yeah. You guys are talking in robot voices for a couple seconds. I couldn't understand what you're saying.
Oh shoot, we were just talking about how wonderful the soundtrack is of this movie.
Oh, right on.
It's a product of the times, man. It's like a perfect time capsule of that music, in my opinion.
Right. Well, I did want to notice the composer David Newman. He's done like a ton of movies, and he did the soundtrack for Critters, which I thought was really cool.
Yep, I heard about that. That was pretty cool. I heard that on the behind the scenes thing. One thing, when they wanted to release this theatrically, they waited because the same year this came out, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids came out. So they did not want to go toe to toe with Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which is smart.
Right.
That movie, who's going to go up against that?
But yeah, that's Little Monsters.
That's Little Monsters. And we talked about Little Monsters about the same time as the entire runtime of Little Monsters as well. So awesome. you could totally pair this up with Little Monsters and watch Little Monsters on mute.
It would be the most decombobulated commentary.
They'd be like, wow, this is the first scene of Snick holding Brian over the thing, and they're talking about Batman cereal in the bank. Like, I don't understand.
Oh, can we just talk about the stand-in during that scene?
Right.
He's holding that thing over, and then you see Maurice on the bottom, but it's obviously not him. It's like somebody wearing a horn mask, and they have like these long waving sleeves.
Yep. Totally, like, if you're paying attention to Maurice during that scene, it totally throws everything off.
Oh yeah,
it's hilarious.
I do want to say like a fun fact, I guess, sort of fun fact. Like when when we find out that Maurice doesn't like the light and he shrinks down in his clothes, mm-hmm. they actually have like a hole cut out in the floor, and then they just had him standing on like one of those like camera trolley things, and they would just kind of decompress it down to kind of go down like a I don't know what you call that, like a
Elevator.
it kind of just like elevate down like a jack.
Right, like a collapsible platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clothing puppeteering was really cool too.
There was a lot of cool stuff. Like even like the cinematography was really good. The set design was great. I mean, like there was a lot of cool set design because I can imagine how many pallets and stuff went into making some of those staircases and stuff like that. Like that's insane. Just the whole scene with like, I mean, there was times where I would just pause it during the pinball scene and look around in the background of like all the stuff in that set. There's a ton of stuff. They did a great job on Brian's bedroom. Like they had everything in there. Like the poster I mentioned about License to Drive. They had like hockey gear where he apparently played hockey, and I mean toys and baseball cards and everything. Like the set design was really good.
Yeah, I've heard some people complain about it, but I thought it was great. Like they
really,
well, basically saying like some people think it's cheap looking with just the palette world because they're like, come on down to Monster World where it's every kid's fantasy, and it's just like this dirty, shitty like wooden construction.
Well, and
I thought it was really neat. I liked all the layers. I loved all the staircases going up everywhere.
Yeah,
it reminded me
all we've seen.
Yeah, it reminded me of the Scorpion fight in Mortal Kombat where they're on that. It was like all those.
That's supposed to be like hell or whatever.
Yeah. I've always liked that too.
Yeah, and like in defense of that, the only parts that we see that are pallets are like where the stairs are coming up and down. Like there's like whole things that technically we never seen. Like when they went into like the town. With like they had like the centipede bug girl that you could go in and get jobs and like so apparently they have like an infrastructure under there that we just never seen. Like there's literally like a job system. There's obviously a class system because Boy has his own staircase.
Yep.
So I guess after you do so much, you can have your own like area. They have like their restaurants, which is like this long table. They have like their recreational areas. So like I just feel like there's a lot of things we didn't see that was like left up with imagination, but. I could see the argument with a lot of pallets.
Yeah.
Because there was.
Yeah.
Ooh. Anything else?
Man, I think we covered it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we covered mostly everything. I guess I will mention, upon posting up this picture, Steve Head had posted on there, and he had worked on the movie as kicking myself in the butt, like camera assisting.
Okay.
He was a part of some of the camera shots on like second unit or something like that maybe. I'm probably butchering, but yeah, he was behind the scenes.
Are you getting
look at it?
Possibly, yeah. I'm possibly going to be getting him on the Root Horror podcast, and he'll probably, elaborate more on this movie, maybe even touch some things that we haven't talked about on here.
That would be great, man. Yeah, you should definitely do that.
And, further upon talking to him, he was saying that he was even doing like journalism, and he would interview people who were like working on movies and stuff. Like he had worked on the Two Towers, like Lord of the Rings Two Towers. So wow. I'm going to ask him if he's talked to Peter Jackson at all. Like that would be really cool to see if maybe
find out where the hell that Dead Alive Blu-ray is.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Dead Alive, or see if he's even talked to anybody about horror movies or anything like that. It'd be kind of cool to.
I mean, just to be like in the scene during that time, like the stuff he's probably seen and helped with and talked about, like would probably be like a treasure trove of knowledge, man.
Yep.
Right, and he says he hasn't really talked to a whole lot of people about it, so this is really cool.
Exclusive scoop.
Tell us all the secrets.
Scoop. Yeah.
All right,
Marcus, wrap up. I think we just go around, tell our very basic what we think about Little Monsters, and then I think that's Little Monsters. Go ahead and start it, Marcus.
All right, so Little Monsters. I think it's a great movie. Is it a good kids movie for nowadays? I don't know. I mean, people are all over the place, and you think that we'd be all desensitized by now, but there's people out there that really would not want their kids to watch this. But being an adult, I think it's a fun movie, and it really does bring back childhood nostalgia, and and it was fun watching it nowadays as 30. I'm 30, but just appreciating the uh, the aesthetics of what they put in the movie, and the practical effects are amazing, and you know, and I didn't notice. I mean, I knew Howie Mandel played Maurice, but I thought they did a really good job hiding, his actual facial features, and you know, for a movie that was made in or put out in 1989, I thought it was a pretty good movie.
I agree. Tell them, for the people that watch this video on Universe Retro, where can they check out your podcast?
So you can mostly I mostly put out audio stuff, but you can check out my podcast at Rude Horror Podcast on Anchor.fm, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, wherever you want to listen to podcasts. I also do have a YouTube channel. If you just type in Rude Horror Podcast, I have a channel somewhere on YouTube, and I'm slowly trying to put more content on there, but mostly I'm pumping out audio stuff more than video, but hopefully that'll change sometime soon in the future.
Cool. All right, Matt. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
I was gonna say, I also have social media. You can follow the Rude Horror Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and then I'm on Twitter at Rude Horror Pod. If you're into the Twitter stuff, I'm not big on Twitter, but I got one on there just in case.
Cool. Matt?
All right. Well, I love this movie, and I think it fits firmly into that cool, never-ending story, Labyrinth. You know what I mean? All those old 80s kids movies that are just neat, had really neat visuals. You don't really see that kind of stuff that much anymore, I feel. Or maybe I'm not searching out kids movies, so maybe they are still making things like this. But but this is a special one. I think it's oddly dark, and definitely has some questionable motifs. So I'm the only one here that doesn't have kids, but I don't know how comfortable I would be showing my young kid this right now, just because of its like I said, I was so easily influenced when I was a kid. I would probably totally put saran wrap over the toilet. Yeah, super fun movie. Wish it answered some more questions. I would love to get more backstory on the workings of Monstertopolis, why this exists. Well, I have so many questions, but yeah, if you just ignore all those, it is a super fun watch. And
Cool.
And you can find me on. I'm half of the Funbox Monster podcast, which can be found anywhere. And you can follow me on Instagram. I do the Funbox Monster with my buddy Tristan, who couldn't be here tonight because he already did 8 podcasts this week, and it's not would kill him if he canceled plans to do another one. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Matt Awkward VHS Fiend, and check out the Video Vagrants Facebook group for lots of fun stuff there too.
Cool. All right. I'm Bobby Canipe. I don't do a podcast. If I am on a podcast, it's somebody else's. But I do Universe Retro on YouTube. You can also go to the Facebook page at Universe Retro, and on Instagram, Universe Retro _. I loved the movie. It's like I said earlier, it's one of my favorite ones. Just because I did start watching it at such an early age. Would I introduce my kids to it? I have. Do I recommend that? Probably not. My kids are pretty good. I kind of raised them on horror, so they kind of know like when they were young, like 5, 6 years old, I'd let them watch horror movies that I'm watching. And I'd say, hey, this isn't real, right? And they'd be like, yeah. And then we'd watch behind the scenes, and they'd see how stuff was made. So they kind of know it's not real. A good age, I think 10 to 12 would be a good age if kids were to watch this. But I think it's fun. I think if you're wanting to introduce your kids to horror, this might be a great gateway horror because it does get kind of scary toward the end, especially if you're in that age. But yeah, like you were saying about the effects, I do love the effects. It's all practical, which is great. It makes me think of not Jim Henson, but like Jim Henson, where they created these characters and they had stories and, and they felt like real in that world. Yeah, I love it. Highly recommend it. The Blu-ray's out and super affordable. It's like $12. So yeah, and
that's insane, especially for these Vestron Blu-rays that
it's an amazing deal. It's an amazing
the
deal.
collector's series that they're putting out. It's a great deal.
Amazing. But
Was Shivers that price too that you picked up today?
Yeah. So they both were 13
Like $12, $13.
around the ballpark of $13.
Gotcha, $13. Yeah, I mean that's a great deal. Like any way you put it. But yeah, check it out. I think you said it was on Tubi, right? If they want to watch it for free.
Yes. Yeah,
Yep,
it's
so
available on
Tubi
Tubi.
for free, and Tubi's a free app, so no reason not to watch it.
If it's
fun.
free, it's for me. That's what I always say.
That's it. All right. Well, thanks for listening.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Basis.